Good morning, good. Today I want to speak to Oireachtas about the escalating crisis in policing across South Tipperary. A crisis made worse by the deplorable policy of neglect, under-resourcing and mismanagement by your government and the previous government. In communities across South Tipperary, from Callican-Shoe to Clonmel, Halfrinnan, indeed Cahir, Cashel, Bannaporeen and Tipperary Town, are telling me people that don't feel safe anymore, they don't feel protected. We now have a situation where a single Garda can be covering multiple towns and parishes, particularly at night. There's no backup, there's no visibility and there are no patrols. And many of our smaller rural stations, the doors are rarely if ever open. Meanwhile, drug activity is creeping further into rural communities and towns, and criminals are even getting bolder because they know the situation, they know the numbers and they are of Gardaí. But that really beggars belief. What beggars belief is the government's decision to push ahead with the disastrous new Garda divisional model, which has resulted in Tipperary Garda headquarters being moved to Innis in County Clare. A mad decision. This is centralisation gone daft, and the consequences of the plan are plain to see. Confusion, lack of local knowledge, demoralised frontline members and communities who feel abandoned. And now we learn that of the 120 guards came out last week, one came to Tipperary Town, one came to the South Tipperary, and one left the same day. Garda Michael Custon, the wonderful officer who returned to his native Cork, and I would thank him for his dedicated service for the last 10 years to the people of Cahir, Cashel. So how many of these actually, as I said, none came. One, and we lost one, so we're standing still. And all of this is happening while Gardaí are being trained in their hundreds in Templemore and are going to the East Coast or to Dublin. And they need gas too. But we can't have them in Dublin at the expense, the absolute expense of the rural areas. And Taoiseach, I'm asking you today, do you accept that South Tipperary is in a grip of a Garda manpower crisis, not just a staffing issue, but a public safety emergency? How do you justify the decision to shift the Garda headquarters from Tullis to Innis, and will it be returned and or the decision reviewed? Can you tell the House exactly how many? I just told you, there's only one extra guard came, so that's the facts of it. And more urgently, will you commit to an adequate increase in Garda numbers for South Tipperary so that rural people can feel safe in their homes? This is not just about statistics, it's about real people. Farmers, shopkeepers, families, young and old, who no longer feel protected in their own homes. And it's about frontline Gardaí who are doing an excellent job, to be fair to them, with no backup, no resource. And indeed, we had two quite seriously injured. Garda John Welch, an excellent guard in my area, savagely assaulted, and he's out, wish him well, and Garda Philip Ryan. We've actually 12 in the Clonmel district out sick, and that happens, and it's unfortunate, especially if they're injured on duty. With a lady Garda injured again recently, violently assaulted, and it's not good enough. But they need to have numbers.
Well, thank I want to thank Deputy McGrath for raising this issue, and I want to join with them in sending best wishes to the local Gardaí that he referenced, who experienced assault and attack and a member of a Garda Síochána as an attack on our democracy, and should rightly be condemned. And indeed, in this House in recent years, indeed under Minister McEntee's leadership, we significantly increased the penalties, the maximum penalties for those who assault a member of a Garda Síochána or indeed our emergency services more generally. So I want to thank you for highlighting that and join with you in the condemnation of that. As you know, and you'll know I'm going to say this, but I do have to say it, that the Garda Commissioner is himself operationally responsible for the allocation of Garda resources, but of course the Justice Minister and the Government are responsible for making sure that the Gardaí have the resources, have the budget, have the policy that they need to do their job effectively. I'm informed that when allocating and transferring Garda members to and from any division, consideration is given to commitments and undertakings outlined in the annual policing plan, looking at local crime trends, workloads, policing arrangements, local population, geographical area size, and indeed transfer applications that can arise regarding welfare, personnel issues and concerns. I'm told that as of April of this year, there are 658 Gardaí assigned to the Clare Tipperary division, and 371 of these Gardaí are assigned to stations in Tipperary. These Gardaí are supported in Tipperary alongside 62 Garda staff. I'm also informed that as of the end of May, 79 Garda vehicles are assigned to Tipperary also. But the Deputy is right that obviously we do need to significantly increase our Garda numbers. And he's also right that there's a direct correlation, I believe, between people's sense of safety and Garda presence and visibility in a community. I think that's absolutely true. He'll know what I'm going to say, but I am going to say it because I believe it's true. I think the closure of Templemore twice or three times really during first the economic crash, which the Fine Gael Labour government then reopened, and then during the COVID pandemic, did obviously have a significant impact in terms of the pipeline of new Gardaí. But we're back at a situation now where there are currently 14,223 Garda members, and the number of Garda staff has continued to steadily increase over recent years and has reached a record high of 3,501 at the end of 2024. It's just dipped ever so slightly to 3,493 as of April this year. In relation to the issue of the transfer from Thurles to Ennis, I'll pass your concerns on to the Minister for Justice and ask that he pass them on and engage with the Garda Commissioner in relation to that. We want to see a very significant increase in the number of Gardaí over the next number of years. We have the budget, we've Templemore up and running, we've specific commitments in the programme for government in terms of looking also at a second college and the options that that might bring. And of course that will see more Gardaí across the country, including in County Tipperary.
Thanks for your reply, Taoiseach, but it's just simply not acceptable that we're standing still and, as I said, officers, and I've put this to the Commissioner before, he's putting officers, male and female, in danger, going out in a patrol car on their own to all kinds of incidents. We saw what happened to John Walsh when he had to go out on his own, and please God he'll recover. A terrible situation to have people in that, and up and down Boreens in the middle of the night on their own. Some days there's no guard available in a car or care station or castle. Tourist towns, and indeed all the villages in the hinterland. It's just not acceptable, and it's not fair to the Garda members that are there who are doing their best. As I said, the lack of cover in Carrick and Shore is just laughable. It's not laughable, it's so serious. 3 Gardaí in a town who used to have 18. And used to have 4 sergeants, I think they have 1 sergeant now, and a Clonmel station trying to cover it. And when we have situations and peaceful protests, which we had in Dundrum, I was there myself, when the iPads were being moved in, and we saw what's after happening there. We had the siege of Dundrum. I mean, 200 Gardaí arrived, from the riot squad to the dog squad to the equine unit, God knows what, and the cost of it. And at the same time, there was a house after being burgled in Cullen, about 15 miles away, and no guard to be gotten. That's the normal case. So we have overkill with the Suchi, but it's not acceptable and it's not safe to have Gardaí on their own doing this kind of an area.
So I definitely don't mean this in relation to the people of Dundrum. Far from it. I've met some of them when I've been in Clonmel, but I mean we have obviously seen huge pressures and challenges put on the Gardaí in terms of dealing with extremist elements in certain places. And you can visit them. They visited my own constituency as well. And I want to thank the Gardaí, often in the face of huge abuse, people sticking phones in their faces and all this sort of stuff, and having to show considerable restraint trying to keep the peace. So I thank An Garda Síochána for the work that they do. But I'm taking your broader point, Deputy McGrath, on this occasion, agreeing with you that we do need to obviously do more in terms of increasing Garda presence. And I want to assure you that the programme for government, but not just the programme for government, the pipeline that we're now seeing going through Templemore, I believe will see us on a more positive trajectory as a result of the foundations we put in place over the last number of years. And I also want to assure you that the safety of our members when they're out and about patrolling is of paramount importance to the government, to the Minister and the Garda Commissioner.